But well, you want to talk about something you're reading?
Speaking of South African history, I'm reading this book by I don't know this guy, but some guy called Sean Jacobs wrote a book called Apartheid South Africa, Postcolonial Politics in the Age of Globalization. I mean, he can write. He's a pretty good writer. Wherever he is, I hope he hears that. But it's funny that Anthony showed that little image of Penny McCarthy in Time magazine. And I think that image just sort of encapsulates what the central theme of this book is, which is that when apartheid ended in South Africa, it moved from being this country that had very, very limited media. Effectively, all media was through the state broadcaster. The state broadcaster engaged in heavy censorship of all of the content it was communicating to its audiences. And when apartheid ended, South Africa was integrated into global capitalism. Its markets were opened. Privatization of the media slowly began, and South Africans were unleashed into the new world of media production and media consumption. So this is it's a really good book. And I mean, I'm making my way through it. And what I think I appreciated for the first time was exactly this point of how South Africans, in understanding its post-apartheid history, underestimate just how an extensive social force the media began to be in sort of constructing our post-apartheid identity and constructing the new political subject in South Africa, because South Africans went from being these extremely politically conscious, radically inclined people to being ordinary consumers, as anyone living under capitalism would be anywhere else in the world, and understanding how the media played this very key role in reshaping the South African citizen as a consuming citizen, something that I didn't really sort of grasp until now, because you sort of just take that as being a given about living in contemporary times, and you never really understand the ways in which it actually happened. It was a concerted effort between the South African state, South African corporations, in some cases South African civics, at building this new narrative of the new South African and liquidating political antagonism, not just by integrating South Africans into state apparatuses, but also in reshaping their preferences, reshaping their attitudes, and reshaping their behaviors. And the way that was done was through the media.
No, totally. I mean, I'll just tell one quick anecdote, because we got to bring on our guest. But one of the chapters I write is about kind of soap operas, like the role that soap operas played in South Africa. And we underestimate kind of how people's their formation as political subjects after apartheid, like how media played such a crucial role in that construction. So and it's not very didactic. So one of them is like, in South Africa, television was dominated, and I would say it still is to some extent, by the SABC, which is like a public broadcaster, right? Like in the old sort of BBC model, like a very sort of social democratic Western, which is ironic because this was an invention of apartheid. But let's keep it at that. So what they did after 1990, I would say starting in 1993, a year before the elections, there was this one show that the SABC funded, paid for, well, they commissioned it, called Generations. And it basically focused on a rich Black family who owns an advertising agency. And the way that the script notes and, the treatment and everything was, we would like to show you the world of Black people running things. This was just, it's very deliberate. And it is also a world in which there are very few white people in this world, which is sort of bizarre, because the South African ad industry in the like early 1990s, some people might argue even till today, is very much, it's white dominated. And so to create like this strange world on TV, and part of that story is that the injunction was, we need aspirational viewers. Viewers that can aspire to something, and consumption was part of it, but also to become like new kinds of citizens, active citizens. So what the show would do was, it would include storylines about things like how to furnish your home. So like one of the characters is trying to furnish a home. So this is about consumption. Another's like how to manage your money. But it's not, as I said, it's not didactic. It's sort of woven into the storyline. But the one that probably takes the cake is there's another series that starts in 1998. It's called Isidingo. I think it ended last year or the year before. Finally, I stopped writing. I didn't even care much about it anymore. But anyway, Isidingo is interesting even way more. So 1998, first episode of Isidingo. This is the story. This is how it opens. There's a mine in a small mining town, and then there's a strike by the black workers, and the white family that owns the mine, they basically decide at that point that they need a black manager. And in the notes for in the shows, in the script notes for the show, it's like, what is the character that we need? This character should be kind of like Nelson Mandela. So it's this character called Derek Nyati. Derek Nyati also marries the daughter of that family. So there's an interracial marriage. The show also contained the first gay kiss. But just back to the story of how does Derek Nyati resolve the crisis of the strike? He says, so the one part is he becomes the manager and he tells the black workers that they should buy shares in the firm. I mean, should I say more? It's just
no more
the setup was just brilliant. It was, this was what So in this book, I tell the story. I tell the story about advertising. I tell the story about.
You wrote it? You wrote this?
So anyway, before people think we're doing marketing here.